For more than 70 years, it's been one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. We've got a man found on a beach, no name, no clear cause of death, and a trail of clues that honestly seem to go absolutely nowhere. Today, we're going to dive into the incredibly strange case of the Somerton Man and how modern science, decades later, finally gave him his name back.
And it really all boils down to these two little words, tamam shud. It's Persian, printed on this tiny scrap of paper that was found hidden in the dead man's pocket. You know what it means? It is ended. But for the investigators on this case, well, this was just the beginning of the whole mystery.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're on Somerton Park Beach, just outside Adelaide, Australia. The date is December 1st, 1948. It's a quiet, beautiful early summer morning that's about to become the backdrop for an enigma that would last for 74 years. So what exactly did the authorities find on that morning? Well, the discovery of a body was really just the first piece of a puzzle that would raise way more questions than it answered. He was found just propped up against a seawall, totally relaxed looking, dressed in a full suit and tie. But here's where it gets weird. There was nothing on him to say who he was. No wallet, no ID, and get this, every single label had been carefully snipped out of his clothing. Even the autopsy was a dead end. They thought maybe poison, but they couldn't find a trace of anything known to science. So right out of the gate, you have these two massive fundamental questions. Who was this guy, and how in the world did he die? I mean, these questions launched a huge investigation, but with zero leads and no identity, the case hit a brick wall fast. And the unknown man, he became a legend. The case was going absolutely nowhere. And then, months later, a pathologist re-examining the man's clothes finds something that everybody else had missed, a tiny clue that was about to make this already strange case a whole lot stranger. So check this out. It was a tiny, secret pocket sewn into the waistband of his pants. This was not standard. Someone had put it there for a reason, you know? To hide something small and probably very important. After all these months of dead ends, this was it. They finally had a real tangible clue. So, the big question was, what was hidden inside that pocket? And this was it. Not a name, not a phone number, but this cryptic phrase, tamam shud. It was just so bizarre, so poetic, and completely baffling. A local librarian actually figured it out. The phrase comes from a famous collection of Persian poetry. So finding this little scrap of paper suddenly cracked open a whole new line of investigation. Find the exact book it was torn from. So police put out an appeal to the public, and you won't believe it, but it worked. A man came forward. He said he'd found a very rare copy of that exact book just tossed into his car. The police took a look, and sure enough, the page with tamam shud was torn right out. But the real shocker? On the back cover was what looked like a secret code, a jumble of letters that not even military code breakers could crack. Okay, let's just take a step back. We have an unidentifiable man, a secret pocket, a poetic phrase from a book, and an unbreakable code. Now, you have to remember, this is the beginning of the Cold War. The paranoia is real, and all of these clues, they seem to point in one very specific direction. And honestly, the spy theory made a lot of sense at the time. I mean, think about it. The way his identity was so meticulously erased, the secret code, the idea that he was killed with some kind of untraceable poison, it all screamed espionage. For decades, this spy story totally captivated everyone. This timeline really puts the whole thing into perspective. I mean, from the discovery in '48, the case basically went cold for over 60 years. Just nothing. It wasn't until our century that science finally developed the kinds of tools that could offer some real hope for an answer. So the answer wasn't going to come from some dusty old police files or from trying to crack that code. No, it was going to come from a laboratory. And this is where the story shifts from a classic detective mystery to a modern scientific one. To really get why it took so long, you just have to look at the tech. Back in 1948, they had basic stuff, fingerprints, blood typing. If your prints weren't on file, you were pretty much a ghost. But now, today, we have forensic genealogy, where researchers can take a tiny speck of DNA, connect it to distant relatives in public databases, and build a massive family tree that can lead them straight to one person. And the key to this whole thing? It's just incredible. It turns out, back in 1949, the police made a plaster cast, a death mask, of the man's head and shoulders. And stuck in that plaster, preserved for over 70 years, was a single strand of his hair. That one hair contained the one thing they didn't have in the 1940s, his DNA.
So Professor Derek Abbott and researcher Colleen Fitzpatrick took on this huge task. First, they actually managed to get a usable DNA profile from that single hair, which is amazing. Then came the really hard work, building a family tree using genealogy databases, eventually connecting over 4,000 people. And finally, by tracing down all the different branches, they zeroed in on one person whose life story just fit.
So after 74 years of being known only as the Somerton Man, the ghost from the beach was finally about to get his name back. The genetic trail they followed was conclusive. It led them to one person and one person only. The greatest puzzle in Australian history, his identity, was finally solved. He wasn't a spy. He was Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer. Not some mysterious foreign agent, but an Australian guy from Melbourne, born in 1905, which would have made him 43 when he died. All of a sudden, he wasn't a legend anymore. He was a real person. So science gave us his name, Carl Charles Webb, but it couldn't answer everything. Why did he travel to Somerton Beach in the first place? What on earth did that secret code mean? And what, or who, was the real cause of his death? Those secrets, well, they may have died with him. You know, it's funny. Solving one great mystery has really just revealed a bunch of others. We know who the Somerton Man was now, but the story of why he was there, well, that remains one of history's great unsolved puzzles. Tamam should indeed. It is ended, but maybe not entirely finished.